South Park has gone missing. The 27th South Park season was expected to air this last February. It is March 1st. And so South Park has gone missing. There's no new episodes, no season 27. We don't know where it is at, but I'm sure it'll be coming it'll be coming out at some point. The game Snow Day is releasing in 19 days, so this might be the reason that we haven't heard anything about the show so far. So I'm doing a season 1 tier list, and come and join me as we do it. And so let's start with the first episode. Now, the first episode is called Cartman Gets an Anal Probe, and was the only episode of the entire run. I think there were a bunch of episodes. I've read that there were a bunch of episodes that were made with construction paper and, the frame for frame, and a budget of over $30,000. Now, for those who don't know, South Park started off as a little greeting card. They had like little VHS tapes, if I'm not mistaken, and it would go viral, but with tapes. Like, people would just create copies of these tapes and send them over to people, and that's how George Clooney got involved. And you got all these a bunch of celebrities who really wanted to push South Park. Now, South Park, of course, is created by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, and I think the first season ran was it 96? Let me just Google that really quick. 1997. Wow. Listen, this is a part of history, right? Like, South Park is such an amazing show, and it was always so good, and it was so fresh. And now, I'm celebrating it. I have a lot of stories about South Park, and it's crazy because I've been watching it since 98, 99 myself, and I was young. I was like 11 or 12, and I started watching it. Now, I wasn't able to watch many episodes. The first 2 episodes are actually that I've ever seen are from season 2. So these episodes right here, I didn't see them until a little later, when I was able to get my hands on South Park on the VHS, and it was really expensive. You got VHS tapes that either had 2 episodes or maybe 4 if you were lucky, and they were pretty expensive because they didn't have VHS tapes of South Park here in Germany. So I had to grab some imports from the UK, and those were more expensive and all those things. So going back to episode number 1, in Cartman Gets an Anal Probe. Well, I mean, spoiler alert, right? That's what he does get. He gets an anal probe, and he gets abducted by aliens. So generally, the episode starts off with the kids being at the bus stop talking. Chef gets introduced. We got Mr. Garrison being introduced. Leanne Cartman's mom, is introduced, and she's already being Cartman. I mean, it's interesting because in the first seasons, she kind of was a slut. That was kind of her thing, right? That she was being a slut, but that kind of just got abandoned over time. So enough of that, I guess. Mr. Garrison is also introduced in the first episode, and Mr. Hat as well, his little hand puppet. He is, the pilot does set up the stage for a lot that is to come, and I think it sets up the show pretty nicely. A lot of characters stay true to themselves, even after the second episode or the third episode or even the first season, often with TV pilots, you get, like there are some decisions that are changed, and then suddenly, like suddenly there was, I mean, with Bob's Burgers, you had Tina being Daniel, and Daniel got a sex change in the writer's room. Things change. There's so many things that are different, usually in the pilot. And with South Park, I believe that the original pilot was around 28 minutes long, so they had to cut a lot of stuff out. I believe that one of the first drafts of the first episode had Cartman having a father, which is something that was scrapped, which was, I think, worked pretty well for his character. But anyway, so we also get to meet Chef, and he's always lovingly talking to the kids and giving them good advice sometimes and really bad advice other times. So the humor in the South Park pilot, I would describe it as, I mean, again, it's like it's setting the groundwork for what is to come. So the humor is rather simplistic. The visuals are very simplistic. It's all very kind of hard to watch. If you can compare the animation nowadays, it South Park has come such a long way. It's amazing. Now, Cartman Gets an Anal Probe is one of those episodes. It's really silly. It doesn't take itself seriously, and it's good though. You see the aliens, they show up and they start creating mayhem in South Park, and something that I really liked about the first seasons of South Park, even though they are not very popular nowadays, is that there is this kind of monster of the week formula. In some cases, you have, in season 1, you have Stan's clone, you have the aliens, and the pilot, you have Scuzzlebutt and the volcano as being a threat. You have, the zombies in the first Halloween episode. You have all these kind of creatures, and Mecha Streisand, she's on season 1, isn't she? We'll see. And Death is also, it's also a guest in season 1. So there's a lot of paranormal stuff, which is so much fun. It makes South Park so fun. So listen, I'm going to give Cartman Gets an Anal Probe. This one's because I'm biased, right? I've seen this so many times. It should be pretty high on the list. But I'm going to, it's 2024, so I'm going to rate it in 2024. The characters are set up pretty nicely. That's done pretty well. The humor is, it's bland humor, but it's entertaining. So Cartman Gets an Anal Probe gets a B from me. So let's move it on to B. There we go. There it is. Nice. This is fun. So I'm just seeing the icon of the second episode. Now in this, on this list, I don't know why Volcano is the second episode. I don't know, like the order is different on the DVDs. I believe that the second episode on the DVDs was Big Gay Al's Big Gay Boat Ride. I will comment on that in a second. Now Volcano is so silly. I love Volcano. We have, the kids hiking with Ned and Jimbo, and they are, Cartman makes Scuzzlebutt, he makes him up and tells a story in the campfire, and it's really funny how, kids being kids, and the dynamic between the kids is kind of still being established in this episode. And one thing that I love is you can also see Randy Marsh for the first time in this episode, and that's amazing because he's such a vital character nowadays in the show. So one of the gags that I just love in Volcano is the duck and cover. Was it the Help film, the little film they show in school in case of a volcano erupting, that the only thing they should do is duck and cover, so they will just cover themselves with a blanket, and the and the lava would just burn them alive, because it won't work. Like these old ideas that we still share in schools and think this helps against that and that helps against this. Oh, excuse me. It's not always true. And if you're seeing a bunch of an avalanche of lava, then ducking and covering isn't gonna do much. And just, it's so funny, and the people die. I would even give Volcano an A tier because it is so silly and it is so funny, and I think it is so good at what it does. So yeah, definitely an A tier for me. I think the gags are really funny. Cartman talking about being in Vietnam and wanting to shoot his friend because he has a short temper is really hilarious. Now, the next episode is called what is this? Is this Jesus versus Santa? Oh no, this one's okay. That's what the episode is about. But this one is called Damien, and it is about the new kid who happens to be the son of Satan, and also Cartman has a birthday party. And he clearly wants specific presents from his friends. And if he doesn't get those presents, he will get really angry. He will even cancel the entire party if he doesn't get the presents that he wants. So already the writers and the creators of the show are already establishing Cartman's character as an extremely entitled, selfish, bratty, horrible person and character, really obnoxious. At the same time, you have the struggle between Satan and Jesus. They are going to fight, and the people of South Park are going to bet on whether Satan is going to win or Jesus. And Jesus seems to be very disappointed because the people who follow him, who pray to him, who, say they love him, they abandon him. And they think because Satan is such a big, imposing figure with, also bulging muscles, as we can see, they all think that Jesus has no chance. And I guess they would be right about it if it really were a real fight. But as it turns out, Satan has plans to manipulate and to benefit from what's going on here with the betting. Really interesting, fun episode. I just don't know where to plant this one. I would say I would give this a B. Let's give Damien a B. I loved Cartman's birthday party. I thought it was just amazing. So let's keep going. You can still see everything, I hope. I'm gonna make my screen a little smaller here so I'm not blocking everything. I'm just gonna go here in the middle. All right, so next episode is the episode with this is Tom's rhinoplasty. Mr. Garrison gets to shine a little bit as he gets a nose job that makes him look like what's his name? I've been looking for freedom. Hasselhoff, David Hasselhoff. So he gets David Hasselhoff's face because his nose has changed. And the kids, in the meantime, get a substitute teacher, Miss Allen. And that's fun because they all fall in love with the substitute. Even Kenny, who gives her a scrumptious looking sausage as a gift. So they all bring her birthday gifts, and it's just so funny. And can we talk about Kenny for a second? How the things he says, like, you can't hear what he says, but you can imagine that it's incredibly dirty. Like, he says the most dirty things, but we can't hear him properly. And I just love that. It is the four boys, Cartman, Stan, Eric. No, I'm sorry. Eric is Cartman. Kyle and Kenny, they all just form such a unique group. And, you know, we got to give props to the people. Now, Wendy isn't very happy about Miss Allen. Miss Ellen or Miss Allen, I'm sorry. I don't know what her name is right now. But she gets really upset and jealous because Stan is also interested in the teacher, but they learn that this teacher is a lesbian, and so the kids don't know what a lesbian is, and Chef, you know, gives bad advice, and so that leads to another chaotic situation where they're just trying to become a lesbian by eating box or licking carpet, which is even just talking about lesbians or gay people is just something that was already quite controversial, because back then, I believe, yeah, it's when shows like Buffy were either already running or about to run. And when, you know, in some shows, if you have a gay couple or a lesbian couple, then, you know, the networks would get they would get death threats. I mean, just don't watch the fucking show, right? Like, I don't like that. That is just so weird. Anyway, hilarious episode. Wendy's gift to Miss Ellen is a dead animal, and she doesn't, you know, Miss Ellen doesn't see it as a threat. She's like, oh, well, Wendy got me something too. Well, it's a dead animal. Thank you so much, Wendy. And her voice is just also, she's such a pleasant voice, such nice, friendly demeanor, and it's amazing. Mr. Garrison doesn't seem to have such a great time with the David Hasselhoff face, so he gets the plastic surgery. He gets it reversed, so he looks like his old self at the end of the episode. Now there is a okay, so the children are being tortured in this one. This one is called Mecha Streisand, and as you can tell by the name, Streisand is you know, Barbara Streisand. So she, in this episode, and everyone's calling her an old talentless bitch essentially, and she's looking for some magical stone that Eric Cartman happens to have found in an excavation site. So if she gets her hands on one of those stones, she can become Mecha Streisand and destroy the world. Oh, I can't talk about these episodes without crapping up. And it gets even better because you got, what's his name? The singer of The Cure, Robert Smith. also, I mean, he's actually being portrayed by Robert Smith in this show, and he plays himself, and he saves the day by essentially kicking Eric Cartman in the nuts. It is wild. It is another monster of the week, as I would say it, and I mean, really fun. The kids get in dangerous situations where they have to get out. A solid B. I would give it a higher rating, but I think Barbara Streisand was just a bit too annoying. Now I'm just gonna go with death, because this one's a really fun one. Now Stan's grandpa wants to commit suicide, and that's not going well. And it's a very fun scene and marks the debut of the foul-mouthed Canadians Terrence and Phillip. Oh, okay. The episode spoofs what happened when South Park first came out, with angry parents rioting. Okay, yeah, so you have, you know, the kids wanting to see the show, the parents outraged about the show. This is, in this list, I would say the first episode that has some kind of social commentary to it. It's really cool. I'm gonna give it a B. Okay, so I'm sorry about this, but the next one is called An Elephant Makes Love to a Pig, and this one has another superstar guest starring in the show, and in this case it's Elton John. No one else but Elton John. And I mean, that's a big hit. So this is so funny, with a song being about not being able to splice elephant DNA with pig DNA. You know, it's not because the science says it that you can't do it. It's just because the song says it, and you can't splice those two. But Chef comes up with the idea: you need to get both really drunk, so they make love. And you know, if Elton John is singing for the couple, then it's obviously gonna work. And then they get what looks like a pig with Mr. Garrison's face. Now, I don't know if the joke is that the elephant didn't impregnate the pig, but Mr. Garrison did. I'm not sure of that. Like, we know Mr. Garrison now. He's quite the character, and I would say he could certainly, I mean, what hasn't he done? What hasn't he sticked his ding dong in at this point? He's completely gone full circle. Now, I think this is the first episode where you can see Dr. Mephisto and his little strange friend Kevin, which is gonna be important because they are reoccurring characters in the first seasons. So An Elephant Makes Love to a Pig also introduces Stan's clone, which helps Stan overcome Shelley's abuse. She, like, the way that she is bullying Stan is so over the top that he should be dead, right? Like, I mean, it was over the top violent and cruel, and I'm sorry for Stan that he has such a horrible sister. Are you looking at my headgear? Are you looking at my headgear? Yeah. What do I give this episode? Like, Mr. Barbrady, Officer Barbrady, he makes a X-Files reference. That's always very funny. I think we can stick this with the B tier. A lot of B's. Yeah, I think it's a B. It's a solid B. Let's not let's not get crazy over it. Now, the next one is weight gain 4,000. Now, in this one, Cartman wants to get buff for a TV presentation where he gets to read an essay, I believe, because he copied an essay. He just presented a false essay. Mr. Garrison gave him full grade, and so he won something and he wants to get buff, so he gets this protein mix that is called weight gain 4,000. So he takes it and he gets fatter and fatter. Kathy Griffin comes to South Park. Mr. Garrison wants to kill her because what did she do? She outstaged him at a puppet event. So that was really funny. I think this one was even better than the others. I'm gonna give weight gain 4,000 for so many reasons an A tier. Oh my god. I mean, this next one is the first Halloween episode. Now, how is it's called pink eye, right? It's pink eye is a condition that all the doctors are mistaking in South Park falsely, because what actually is happening, it's not an outbreak of pink eye, it's a zombie outbreak. And so what happens? So the Russian space station crashes onto Kenny. Kenny is brought to a morgue. All right, let me just read. In the 7th episode of the first season of the American animated television series South Park, the boys are waiting for the school bus as usual when the MIR space station crashes and kills Kenny, whose body is then taken to the local morgue. One of the men at the morgue accidentally leaves a bottle of Worcestershire sauce open, and its contents mix with the embalming fluid, turning Kenny into a zombie. Kenny bites the two men and leaves in the middle of the night. So this is how it starts, and it just kind of gets worse from there on. So the pink eye epidemic is starting to spread. At the same time, it's Halloween. So when he returns from the dead, the other kids don't question why he smells or why he's not saying anything. At the same time, Stan wants to participate in the in the costume contest for Halloween, but everyone else is dressed as Chewbacca, and even Wendy is dressed as Chewbacca, even though they wanted to go together as a couple. So Stan gets really angry at Wendy over that, so their relationship kind of falls into a tight space. What else happens in the show? Well, Cartman dresses as Adolf Hitler and does the Nazi salute when he is confronted in school by Principal Victoria. He is essentially pushed into dressing up as something else. She makes a different costume, so he goes from being dressed as Adolf Hitler to being dressed as one of the Ku Klux Klan members. So he looks like a ghost and scares Chef a lot. So I mean, look, this episode is top tier South Park, even if we're talking about the first seasons. I do believe, I strongly believe this, because it's silly. It is a Halloween episode. You have, at the end, they're just killing zombies left and right. They get on the phone with someone at the sauce company. Let me just say that word again. Worcestershire sauce, right? So Stan calls, or Kyle call the company and ask what they should do. And so the solution for this is, of course, to kill the original zombie, which would be Kenny, but not to kill people left and right, which is what they were doing, which is so hilarious. Kenny won't stay dead is part of the gag. Now, Kenny has died in each episode so far, so that is a trend that we will be seeing in the South Park seasons. Now, I just heard a noise. Sorry, I don't want these noises to be too distracting, so I'm turning them off. So listen, Pink Eye is so absurd, but at the same time so good that I'm giving it, really, also Chef doing his own version of Thriller, and I'm gonna make love even when I'm dead. S tier. Right. Next episode that I really love is called Big AL's Big Gay Boat Ride. Now, this is another fun episode. It is surprising how silly, how filthy, and how naughty this show can be, but at the same time it has these really nice warm messages that are ahead of its time. This just talks about homosexuality and how Stan's dog Sparky, which is voiced by George Clooney, and the dog doesn't talk. He just goes rrr, rrr, and ruff, ruff. And that's what George Clooney does. He's not acting. He's just doing dog noises in the microphone, which is hilarious because it's such a just one of the best actors in the world, and you reduce them to dog sounds, which is one of the reasons why a lot of guest stars just weren't coming to South Park. I think it was around the 4th until 7th, 8th season where you would not have any guest stars at all, which is a shame because I do think they really had a lot to bring to the table. So there are some jokes in Big Gay Al's Big Gay Boat Ride, Jewish jokes in the sports field. They're playing they're playing American football, and Pip is also just not getting a helmet because he's British or because people don't like him, and just Chef doesn't want to give him a helmet, so he gets badly hurt at some point. The highlights of this episode is the fact that because other kids were making fun of Stan's dog Sparky, Stan kind of says, I don't want a gay dog, I want a normal dog. And so Sparky understands that, and he wants to run away. And when he runs away, he finds Big Gay Al's Big Gay Animal Sanctuary, where gay animals can party under a disco light and be themselves and not be discriminated against, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful message. Stan bails on the American football and starts looking for his dog, and he finds Sparky, and it's there's a lesson to be learned here. And he says, I'm sorry that I said that about my dog, and I hope that and then he learns through Big Gay Al, which is his first appearance as well, that being gay is normal. It's a beautiful thing, and and he supports it. And the show ends up with them losing the losing the football game, but Stan still giving a speech about homosexuality and how you should tolerate your gay dog, because gay dogs are everywhere. And so I would give Big Gay Al's Big Gay Boat Ride an A. Yeah, this is a pretty good episode. Now, okay, so now we come to there's the seasonal episodes. Now, Starvin' Marvin is the name of the next episode, and in it, they see Sally Struthers advocating for charity. She's in an ad, and she's calling for donations from people, and the kids watch the ad and want to get a watch. They just want to get a plastic watch. It's nothing really too special. And instead of saying we want to just send a few dollars each month, they say we want to adopt the kid. And so the company just sends over the kid from Africa, and the kid doesn't understand English, and they treat the kid like an equal, but the kid kind of learns the way how spoiled people are in the US and how they take everything for granted. Now, this is a nice episode because Eric Cartman gets a lot of, he gets what he deserves, and that's not something that happens a lot, and so it's nice to see. There are also killer turkeys that are attacking people, and so this means that Dr. Mephisto cannot be too far away because he's usually responsible for these things. So that's kind of like they're pissed off turkeys, and there are a bunch of nice scenes with the mayor. At the end of the episode, they're like, yeah, well, we're rebuilding South Park for the 10th time this year, which is a really fun joke because already in these, is it 13 episodes, the South Park has been attacked and destroyed quite frequently. So it's just very funny. So Starvin' Marvin has some quite good criticisms about society and about our world, so I'm just gonna give it another A. I mean, look, it's a good show. I didn't think I would give these episodes such a high rating. Now, next up on the list is Mr. Hanky, the Christmas Pooh. Now, this one's nice because, again, it kind of shows Kyle being the only Jewish person in South Park and how he's struggling with not celebrating Christmas and being left out from everyone else. He has a little song that he sings, and then there's this whole part with Mr. Hanky where he tells everyone that he's a Christmas Pooh and he's magical, and since other people don't believe in Mr. Hanky, he doesn't show up. So Kyle ends up doing really gross things with Pooh that I'm not going to mention here, but you should watch it. It's a really fun episode. Now, something else is something that I really enjoyed throughout the episode is they're doing a school Christmas play, and everyone is kind of like saying, wait, I don't like those lights, I don't like this, I don't like, so everyone's kind of complaining. So at one point, they just don't. The Christmas play has nothing, right? And throughout the episode, you can see Kenny almost slipping into death in really ridiculous ways. Like Mr. Garrison asks him if he can't remove if he could remove the Christmas lights because it offends people who suffer from epilepsy, which is kind of like, this offends me, that, and this, we know this kind of stuff. It never goes away. Like, people are offended of things, or people don't want to see things, and so this is a part of it. So he climbs the ladder and takes down the lights, and under him is a shark tank with a shark waiting to eat Kenny, and we've seen him die a bunch of times. So we expect him to die, and so he has a bunch of close calls, but at the very end of the episode he gets spared by the show and the creators, so it ends on a kind of sweet note. I would give Mr. Hankey's Christmas Poo a B tier rating. Now, the last episode on season 1, this is exciting, on season 1 is called Cartman's Mom is a Dirty Slut. Now, this one's a special episode. It was one of the first episodes I ever got to see. But it wasn't the first. It was like, maybe it was the 4th or the 5th episode I had ever seen. And I remember being very young when I saw it, and I thought it was really kind of, it was kind of crass. It was kind of dirty. This especially specifically Cartman's mom was dirty. Like, she was like, the way she was presented was just kind of even unsettling to me, if that makes sense. Like, I thought it was kind of iffy, but I was also very young. I was like 13 or 12 or whatever. Now, this episode, Cartman is talking to his imaginary stuffed animals, and they're praising him in his backyard. He's having like a tea party with his friends, with his stuffed friends. And so his buddies, his friends Stan, Kyle, and Kenny, well, they see him, they watch him, and they film him, and they send the tape to America's stupidest home videos to win a prize. And since they did get a prize, well, they want to, I don't know what they wanted to use the money for, but it seems like they kind of see that, Cartman is suffering from his daddy issues because he doesn't have a dad, and he wants to know who his dad is. So first he goes to see Chef because he thought his dad was Chef, and then he goes around, and it just doesn't see. It just seems like Leanne Cartman had sex with everyone the night that Cartman was conceived. So it's just funny, and this is actually the first South Park episode to end with a cliffhanger. Absolutely hilarious episode. I would give this, this is hard, either an S or an A. I think I'm gonna go with an A tier. I know, not many S tiers today, but look, I might do season 2 someday. So this is my season 1 tier list for South Park. We have Pink Eye as really top-notch, as a top-notch episode in the S tier. And then we have Volcano, Tom's Rhinoplasty, Weight Gain 4000, Big Gay Al's Big Gay Boat Ride, Starvin' Marvin, and Cartman's Mom is a dirty slut on A tier. Now B tier, we have Cartman Gets an Ale Probe, Damien, Mecha Streisand, Death, An Elephant Makes Love to a Pig, and Mr. Hanky, the Christmas Poo. I guess that was it. That was the video. I thought I was going to take around 20 minutes to do this. We're almost, what is it, an hour? That's amazing. 50 minutes. This is a full-length special, if I ever saw one. I hope you loved this video. I hope you enjoyed this. Let's talk more South Park soon. Let me know if I should do another tier list of season 2 on my next big show. Now you can find this show on my playlist for full-length specials, where I talk about different things. You should definitely check that playlist out. Thank you all so much for watching. I would also like to say thank you to all my Patreons. There are around 5 of them. Johannes, Karina, Dizo, Volgak are 4. I think those are 4. And F78K, of course, the premium one. Cannot forget about him. Thank you. You guys are awesome. My new single is called The Posture of Sin, and it is streaming now everywhere where you can find music. Thank you all so much for watching. Please consider hitting that like button or subscribing to the channel. We have video games, we have tier lists, and we have music, of course. So with all that being said, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and I shall see you here very soon. Thank you guys. Good night, goodbye, and see you soon.